Good morning, children. In yesterday's class, we learned about the parts of a cell. Just once we'll revise that. The parts of cell we discussed in our yesterday's class. The cell is surrounded by a cell membrane, and in center of the cell we have nucleus. Between the nucleus and the cell membrane, the jelly-like substance is cytoplasm. These all we discussed yesterday. And the functions of cell membrane we discussed. It protects the cell, separate the cell from the other medium, and it acts like a selectively permeable membrane. By two methods it allow ions. These all we discussed, right? And cytoplasm, many cell organelles are present in the cytoplasm, and their functions and all we are going to discuss in coming classes. And the nucleus is the center of the cell, and it takes very important role in passing characters. Those all we discussed. Actually, what's the meaning of this cell? Who has identified first time, who discovered the cell? Those all we are going to discuss in today's class, children. Before doing that, you do one small activity. That's nothing but you observe one understoried building, under construction building near your home, and see how they are constructing a wall. It's so interesting to observe that, right? They'll use the bricks to construct the wall one above the other. They'll arrange, they'll construct the wall. In the same way, the living organism's body is also made up by cells. The n number of cells are arranged one above the other. Okay, so who has discovered first time, who identified this cell, we are going to discuss today. So today's topic is discovery of cell. We are going to discuss about the discovery of cell. First time the cell is identified by a scientist in 1665, a famous scientist named as Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke identified first time the cell in cork. In cork, he identified dead cells, not the living cells. He identified the dead cells in cork. What's the meaning of a cork? Cork is a part of a bark. Bark means the stem part, the thickened stem part of any tree, right? So from cork plant, he observed, he took a cork part and he identified the dead cells in that. And he has seen the compartments. In this way, he observed the compartments in that cork. And it resembled, the structure is resembled like a honeycomb, which has hexagonal cells like this. You might have seen the honeycomb before. So the cells he identified in this way, and there is also some wall in between. Each cell is getting separated by a wall, which is known as is nothing but the cell membrane. He explained in such a way. So he coined the word cell first time. After Robert Hooke identification, he wrote a book about the cells. The book name is Micrographia. Micrographia gave a lot of information about cells. And after Robert Hooke identification, after Robert Hooke wrote the book of Micrographia, then 150 years later, another famous scientist found the living cells. He is Antony von Leeuwenhoek. Antony van Leeuwenhoek first time identified the living cells, whereas Robert Hooke identified the dead cells. Antony van identified the living cells. And it is possible because of the improved microscopes like electron microscope. After the invention of electron microscope only, it possible to identify the he identified the living cells after the identification of electron microscope only. And then both of them finally given a definition for a cell. The cell is a structural and functional unit. Structural and functional unit. They both, from their both identification, they given a definition for the cell, that is, cell is a structural and functional unit of all living organisms. Every living organism body is made up of by cells. Okay, then are all the organisms have the same number of cells? Every living organism will show the same number of cells? Not like that. So based on the number of cells, now we will discuss how many types of cells are there. Actually, before going to the number of cell, I'll show you hen egg. Is this hen egg a cell or a tissue? What's the meaning of a tissue? When same type of cells, structurally and functionally, when they gather together, they form a tissue. When same cells, structural and functional cells gather together, they are forming a tissue. So the tissue is nothing but a group of cells. A group of cells, when they join together, they form a tissue. Then is it a tissue or a cell, or a single cell or a tissue? Hen egg is a single cell or a tissue? It's a single cell. Actually, it has a white color albumin and yellow color yolk. Egg is having white color albumin and yellow color yolk. This yolk and albumin. Inside this yolk, the egg cell is present. Egg cell is present inside the yolk. This part, this is the white color part. This white color part is albumin. And this yellow color part is yolk. You can do this activity in your home and try to observe the egg cell. In yolk, the egg cell is present. Actually, the egg cell can be seen with naked eye. Then consider that the egg is a naked cell. Can be seen and it's a naked cell. And now we will see how can we divide the living organisms based on their number. Based on their cell number, organisms are divided like unicellular and multicellular organisms. What's the meaning of unicellular? Unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular and multicellular organisms. What's the meaning of unicellular and multicellular? Unicellular means these organisms' body consists of only single cell. With the help of single cell, they are able to do all their metabolic activities. And because of this, they are also known as single-celled animals. They are also known as single-celled animals or single-celled organisms. And for example, for these single-celled organisms are amoeba and all protozoans. All protozoans, as we discussed in microorganisms lesson, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, these all are single-celled organisms. And bacteria, yeast, this all comes under single cellular organisms. And what's the difference between single cell and multicellular organisms? The organisms whose body is made up of by more than two cells, more than one cell, or n number of cells, which organisms are made up of by n number of cells, they are known as multicellular organisms. For example, all the plants and animal cells are examples for multicellular organisms. And when you take amoeba, amoeba does not have any particular shape. It's irregular in shape and it will use its pseudopodias to capture its food and engulf with the help of pseudopodias. And with the help of nucleus, these are pseudopodias. And with the help of nucleus, the reproduction process takes place. And some vacuoles are present. With the help of this vacuole, their digestion and excretion process takes place. So finally, all the activities, all metabolic activities are carried by single cell in amoeba. This is one example. Remaining all other animals like all other organisms like Euglena, Paramecium, these all also carry out the functions with single cell. Whereas in multicellular organisms, n number of cells are there. As we discussed before, the same type of cells structurally, functionally, when they are doing the same function, they form a tissue. When cells are same with structure and function, they are forming a tissue. When the same tissues join together, they form an organ. Like your stomach, liver, these are different organs which will have the same type of tissues functionally. When same type of organs which perform the same function gather together and they form the organ systems. They form organ systems. Like that, multicellular organisms will have different organ systems like digestive system, respiratory system, reproductive system, transport system. Like this, there are different systems to carry out different functions. Whereas in unicellular organisms or single-celled organisms have single cell to perform all its activities. That's the difference between unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Now we will see, do all the organisms have same shape of cells? Just now we had seen multicellular and unicellular organisms, right? Is it in the same way? The shape of the cells, either they may be the unicellular or multicellular, do they have the same type of shape? So now we will discuss about shape of cells. Shape of cells. Are all they different by their shape or whether they are doing the same function will have the same shape? Okay. So that we'll discuss now. Actually, depending on their function, what function that particular cell is doing, based on their function, its shape is present. They get their shape based on their function. For example, if you see RBCs in our body, red blood cells in our body, they are concave in shape, biconcave in shape. They are biconcave, round in shape. Why they are in biconcave shape? Because when it is biconcave shape, the surface area will become more. When surface area is more, they can carry more amount of oxygen to each and every cell. Right? And when you see your white blood cells, they'll not have any shape. They'll change the shape because they have to travel and they have to engulf the foreign particles like any germs enter into the body. So their function is all the time searching. So because of that, they don't have a particular shape. And when you see your muscle cells, they'll be in spindle shape like this. Why they are in spindle shape? Because of this spindle structure, they can able to contract and relax. Expansion and contraction takes place with the help of this spindle shape. That's why when the muscles are going for extraction and contraction, then only it's possible the movement. Organisms can move by the movement in the muscles. Muscles are helping for the movement in living organisms. That is possible by the shape of muscle cells. Okay, when we see the nerve cells, when we see nerve cell, it is branched. It is branched and long axon is present like this. So it's a long branched cell. Our nerve cells are long and branched cells. They are known as neuron. They are known as neurons. The end of the one neuron end, the other neuron starts at the end of one neuron. So it is helpful to send the messages widerly because it's looking like a tree. So with the help of these branches, nerve cells or neurons can spread the message throughout the body. And when it is long in shape, it can pass the message to the next neuron. With the help of one neuron, nerve endings are connecting with the other neuron dendrites. These parts are known as dendrites. So these dendrites are connected to the other neuron endings. So messages can be passed easily from one neuron to the other neuron when they have connection like this. So based on their function, the cells acquire their shapes. So understood now? We discussed about shape of cells, how they differ in their shapes, how they differ in the number. Based on the number, how can we divide the organisms we learned, and who discovered the cell we learned today, and size of the cells we'll see now. Do all the cells have same size? Do all the cells have same size? Either the organism is a little mouse or a big elephant, whatever it may be, but their size of the cell will be, they all are having, either the organism is small or organism is big, but their body is made up of by cells. But only the difference is when the organism is very big like elephant, they'll have n number of cells. If the organism is very small like mouse, they'll have less number of cells. Bacteria, actually the bacteria has a very small cell which can measure in nanometers. Okay, and ostrich egg, when we see, just now we had seen hen egg, it can be seen with naked eyes. Same way, ostrich egg is the big cell, biggest cell, and bacteria cell is the smallest cell. So till now, we discussed about the shape of cells, size of cells, and the number of cells, and who discovered the cell. These are the topics we discussed today, children. So your home assignment is, your homework is, draw the different types of cells. Draw the different types of cells. Different types of cells and name them. Draw the different types of cells in your notebook and name them. And activity, one small activity what we did yesterday, that just once we'll repeat it. That is, this activity is for to observe the human cheek cells. To observe human cheek cells, we did an activity that we just will revise once. The aim of this activity is to observe human cheek cells. To observe human cheek cells. You can do this activity at your home, children. Take one toothpick. Just scrape inner layer of your cheek. A white color part comes. Keep it on a glass slide. Add 2 drops of water to this and add methylene blue to make the cell parts colorful and observe under the microscope. Okay, so just if it is possible you carry on this activity, otherwise we'll do it in our class when it starts physically. And you write this activity as your homework. Write activity to observe the human cheek cells. To prepare the human cheek cell slides, write an activity. Write clearly the aim of the activity, materials what you use, procedure and your observation, children. So these two are your homework. Complete by next class. And in next class, we'll discuss about the cell organelles. Thank you, children.